much people trying to flog stuff without doing any discoveries. People going to sell their stuff, talk about their stuff.
And it's people not taking real note.
Yeah, pitch.
Welcome on behalf of Lou. Welcome once again to another live stream with myself, Gareth Wax of the Many Purple Hats, and David Chernick of Treacle. We are people interested, intrigued, and focused on sales and its process, modern sales particularly. And today we're talking about that fabled thing, the discovery call. That initial getting to know you thing where you're sitting opposite each other, sipping on your coffee, and they're wondering what the hell you're going to ask them. And you theoretically have got a plan to try and find out as much useful information about them as possible, so you guys can progress forward, skipping hand in hand through the tulips into the sunset together. Yeah. In reality, what actually happens, David?
Well, I mean, I've noticed particularly it's happening more and more as people are, I think as people are automating their sales funnels.
Yeah.
They're doing lead generation, they're getting leads into their pipelines. And then they are with their eyes on the close, the idea of always be closing. They're going straight for, they'll qualify to get into the pipeline, and then they'll go straight for a close. And so what that turns into is just a pitch. You'll do your, as a buyer, you'll do your bit of research, things will drop into your inbox. You'll start going through somebody's funnel, and then they're so excited to have you in their funnel. They start pitching. And they've sort of seem to have lost a lot of the discovery call.
I had a sort of discovery call yesterday, and it was about three. No, we've done all the preliminaries, and about a minute in, I said, "So, how can I help you?" He said, "Well, I was hoping you could help me by doing this for me." And I think he wanted me to be an affiliate, and he was like, "How can I be an affiliate for something I know very little about?" I know there are people out there, goodness, TikTok is full of them, of people that will be effectively be an affiliate for your, effectively a recommender for your product, your service, or whatever it is you do. And we'll do it just for, for the fact that they're going to get some money out of it at some point. I can't do that. And I think anybody with integrity can't do that. I need to believe in the product, or at least have tried it or felt that you can recommend it.
I mean, actually, on that, I've been reading recently how, affiliates, again, like anything in marketing, marketing people tend to ruin everything for everyone. We do. Start working and they'll go straight on that.
Praise be.
Straight on it, and then they'll just like overload us with affiliates and I've forgotten the term now, where like influencer marketing and.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, in the beginning, the whole idea was, here's someone that everybody knows, and they actually believe in this product, so we should buy it. And sure. But now it's, here's someone everybody knows, and they talk about this product, so we buy it because they talk about the product, irrelevant to whether they actually believe in it or not.
Look, I mean, the history of this, I think we probably talked about this before, but the history of this in my lifetime has been, it started in my lifetime with direct mail. You get a flyer through the door or a letter through the door. It's always addressed to me.
Yes. Oh, I'm important now.
Oh, it's about my roof. Oh, wow. But it was like a letter addressed to me because somebody had driven past my house and it was a snowy day and they'd seen that I had no snow on my roof. They knew I didn't have loft insulation. Right. But once that started taking a hold and marketers got their hands on it, suddenly we were awash with junk mail.
Yep.
Same happened. I remember back in the early days, I worked at IBM and we got email for the first time. And suddenly you got an email in your inbox. Wow, John Hopwood's written me an email. What's he said? Oh, David. Wow, yeah, I'm going to respond to that. But, before long, marketers got their hands on it. And suddenly our inboxes were full of junk mail. And the same happens with any of these social media, the same, I've got a friend request on Friends Reunited or Facebook or
Friends Reunited. You're showing your age.
Yeah, man. That invented it. That started it all, right? En masse.
Right. Right.
So, but now, friend requests, I get them literally all the time. I think when you don't accept them, they become a follower or something like that. But, I would guess that a lot of my followers are, just.
You are talking, now hang on, you're talking about Bookface here. Are we talking about LinkedIn or not?
Well, so the same happens on LinkedIn. And
That's slightly different. Slightly different. You've got more control because if someone is following you, you can actually make yourself invisible to them. Okay. You've got about 5 different levels of blocking.
I've never really sort of paid much effort into sort of blocking people or anything like that. But certainly, anybody that's on LinkedIn, I would guess is going to have an inbox inundated with friend requests or requests from people that are just trying to flog you. And if you accept their friend requests, even people that I have connection, mutuals with, my guess is that the majority of our mutuals, they don't know them either.
I would say that's very true. What I would say is, and this is just this is me doing with my LinkedIn hat on. If you will get lots of LinkedIn requests, and I get 50 to 60 every day of new connection requests, I think that people who either send you in-mails as well, that's a big red flag. Especially an in-mail that says, I want to tell you about my Okie Kokie 2000. It's really good. And when we're friends together, let's talk about how you can buy one. Or another one that says, I'm holding this event and I think you should attend. All of these things, which are leading with the product or the service or whatever it's trying to push, rather than saying I'm interested in you or what you stand for. Any of those are the ones you want to discard without thinking.
Yeah, well, look, there's that whole automation or people on an individual basis mimicking that automation. They think it's a good idea. So you do get, personalized inbox, in-mails, and friend requests and things like that. And the moment that you accept any of these, you're straight into their funnel. So you're then going to get the pitch. And it's so rare that people want to enter into an actual conversation about the problems that keep you up at night. And that's what we're really talking about here. That once you've made a connection, that urgency to get to push them through the funnel seems to have lost an awful lot. And what that means is, this is my observation, and it's anecdotal really, but I'm sure there is some data on it.
Sure.
Is that the shape of our pipelines is much more steep. We take loads of people in at the front, and they with a very, very low conversion rate into who becomes a client. Actually, it's also very, very common for me to hear that people believe their conversion rates are super high, 80% conversion rates. But what they're talking there about is the ones who've already decided to buy your product, right? That how many of them are converting, in which case 80% is low, because once somebody's decided they're going to buy, that should be closer to 90% actually turn into
my belief is you want
the conversion rate of leads, actual leads.
Yeah, your conversion, it's no longer a funnel, it's a conversion bucket. And it's kind of like chuck any old shit in the bucket, and hopefully you can discriminate them at the rectum end, and at that point you can, but the conversion there is sub 1% from my knowledge. It's terrible. So I'm very much advocate for make it absolutely focused, your marketing, so that it intrigues as far as you can your target audience. Ask questions that would excite your target audience, and be more discriminatory about the friend requests that you accept. Don't accept everybody. Just accept people who have shown an interest in you and what you represent. For instance, if they ask about pain points, if they ask about areas of concern, I'm far more likely to add them as a connection than if they say, we believe you need this. So therefore, would you be interested in X, Y, or Z? And so I wouldn't be interested in any of it. You don't know me from Adam.
Yeah. So it happens a lot with all sorts of services. I mean, the real sort of joke ones are when it's something like personal finance. You know, as if I'm gonna sign up a financial advisor to do my personal finance. I don't even know. It's got no connection with me whatsoever.
The more it's closer to money, so personal finance being as close as you can bloody get to it, the more it's close to money, the more discriminatory somebody's going to be before they sign up to anything. So the fact that you're treating it in the same way as if you might be selling cleaning products, to me, shows a bit of tone deafness.
And there is the difference. It's the difference between things that are very highly commoditized, yeah, where really it's a race to the bottom of price. And you know what we generally talk about, which are things like business services,
right?
So you know we talk about B2B sales, but really majority of what we're talking about here are business services, high-end services, high value services, you know, opportunities that are for very differentiated services. So for those to work, we need to have a discovery call. You know, we need to be able to find out what people's pain points are, what's keeping them up at night, what goals they have. And go through what, you know, we always talk about as being a fairly linear conversation, a directed, structured, coached conversation that get you from the point of being qualified into, you know, figuring out and agreeing a plan for how they might onboard themselves as a client.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Before any of that happens, you've got to get to that bit where you realize that both of you are there to try to work with each other. That it's not just one-way traffic. Because if it's just one-way traffic, I think that often falls out before it actually gets anywhere.
Well, if you're asking questions like what keeps you up at night, you're only going to get truthful answers or open answers from somebody who trusts you enough to tell you what's keeping them up at night. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can probe and do all of this kind of stuff, but you know, the key here really is to be able to establish enough trust in order for them to be open. You know, you can develop trust as the relationship goes on.
Trust is a time-based thing anyway, but it's you've got to start from the point of view that the very basic questions you are, you know, I didn't want to meet you here just so we could share coffee. I wanted to find out more about you, and specifically the areas that perhaps you or your business struggle with. And then let them talk.
It's actually here that we can learn a lot from financial services sales, because financial services salespeople tend to have a fact find. They will typically open up a form. There's some information they would need to learn about you, personal information. Now, in other fields where it's not financial services, there tends to not be that, you know, quite often a regulatory requirement in order to do a proper fact find. He's noticed something.
No, I just my next one. I'm just telling you we're running over.
Is it
running late?
But yeah, so to have that, you know, fact find, discovery call, you know, there are a whole bunch of questions that we might want to be able to ask them, as there are loads of questions that they probably want to be able to ask you. But we need to figure out what the problem is that they're looking to solve, or the goal they're looking to achieve. And also, you know, just to get into what a discovery call might include, find out from them what they would see as being a solution to that problem. You know, constantly, and we remind ourselves very regularly in these calls, you know, the onus is on us if we're going to be effective coaches for these sales calls. Coach somebody how to buy your services, we need to be writing things down. Yeah, we need to be recording what they say in their own words when they tell you something that's important, as the financial services fact find would dictate. We're writing down our notes.
But it's once you've written it down, what's important is that you've written them down well enough that you can read it back to them, or you can literally face them off with what they've said they wanted. Because the worst thing you can do is get to the end of a fact-finding mission like this and be slightly off course. You know, they said they want you. They really struggle with finding red things, and you're looking for blue things. You know, it's you've got to get the details right.
Absolutely, and those are the things that develop trust through the relationship. You know, trust. There's a lot written about trust in sales. For example, sharing information about what goes on in your personal life and your personal interests, and trying to find that kind of hook where you can get a connection with somebody, a human-to-human connection. But, you know, really the most influential factors are behavioral. So when I'm opening up my heart and telling you as the salesperson, you're selling to me, and you've asked me a probing question, and I give you the answer to it. If you repeat that back to me word for word, it's going to give me the impression, the correct impression, that you've heard what I've said.
Yeah, it makes it feel like you actually taken some blind bit of notice of that. It's because, you know, the classic salesperson, and I'm sorry, I mean the one that people remember. It's the one that's nodding along to you, and all they're doing in their mind is formulating what they're going to say next. Whereas doing it this way, you can say, well, hang on a moment, have I got this right? You're looking for X, and you want to achieve Y, and these are the time constraints you've got, and you're not entirely sure how you're going to go about it. Is that right?
Yeah, it's those people that attended the active listening course or watched the active listening video, and they learned how to do yeah, right, got it,
yeah.
Nothing's going in. Nothing's going in.
Yeah,
write it down, record it.
And then for yourself,
everybody. Everybody, hear yourself repeating the words back to them. What they
and
said.
Dare I say it, after the call, send them over a summary derived from those notes.
100%. Those are the bits that they want to read. Now, we talk about the sales process being this linear process. If you do that, this is your discovery call. Yeah. The discovery call takes you from qualifying a lead into an actual sales opportunity, and then moving them along that linear process until the point where you're able to say, right, are you going to become a client of this? Yeah. What is going to be our plan?
Right.
What do you need to do, and what do I need to do in order for you to achieve all of those wonderful benefits from being our client? There you go.
Well, I think that was pretty much on the money. Look, anybody watching or listening, we love having these topics and these talks. We often get quite irate about them. It'd be useful if, when you encounter either of us, or if you want to, if you feel brave enough, write an actual message on the stream. But either way, we adore doing them, but we can only really continue doing them if we know that people are really getting something out of it. So feedback would be very
good anyway, Gary. Gary.
Don't say that. They need to know there's some sort of jeopardy. If you'd say that,
no jeopardy. I just want to put just a little thing, a little notice out that I've been sharing these on LinkedIn, streaming them on LinkedIn and on my personal Facebook. I think from next week I'm on Facebook. I'm going to just share it on my business page on Facebook, which is Treacle Sales. So look up Treacle Sales on Facebook, follow that, and that's where you'll get these streams.
Okay. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure as ever. Cheers, David. You see, it's going on. Can you do it? Can you do it? Oh, there we go. You see, iOS. There we go. Showing its metal there. So my name's Gareth. His name's David, and we talk about modern sales pretty much every Wednesday. Do look out for it. Until next week, I wish everybody a successful week, it being hump day and all. And of course, great mental health.